Today we're talking about vocal mixing, and if you want your songs to sound professional, you have to understand how to process vocals the right way, because this is the most important part of most songs. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 major plugin categories you need to mix vocals. Let's jump right in. All right, so first things first, when it comes to mixing vocals, the first most important plugin I always go for is the EQ. Simply, EQ is just about shaping the tone of your vocal. So it helps you boost part of the voice that you want to emphasize, and it cuts out the frequencies that make it sound a bit harsh or a bit muddy. And if we look at right here, we have quite a bit of parametric EQs going on right here on this particular vocal, and if you go over here, we can see that we have more going on right here. And next up to that, after the EQ, we have compression. All right, now compression is another very important tool when it comes to mixing vocals, because it controls the dynamics of the vocal. It evens out the volume, making the quieter parts more audible and making the louder parts more controlled. So if we look over at our track right here, we have our fruity limiter right here. Be right where you so you can see what it's doing. It's chopping out this part, reducing all this, and we still added a post gain to bring the volume up a bit. So without the compression, this is how it sounds. I've come to be right where you are, every second, every minute, every hour, rather in your arms. Alright, so next up we have the de-esser. And what the de-esser basically does is that it just takes out all these harsh sibilant sounds that are in our vocal size, all these S and T sounds that come in harsh, and it tames them down. And for this effect, I'm using the Pro DS from FabFilter right here, and it does an amazing job to take out those harsh frequencies. If you don't have this, you can also use Maximus. There's also another free tool that you can use, Nova. I think I've also covered that in this channel also. The next major plugin on our list is saturation. And what saturation does is that it technically just adds warmth, adds character, adds harmonics, richness to our vocal. All right, so it can make a vocal, feel more present and lively and analog-like, and that is technically most of the time what we want to achieve. So it technically does wonders behind the scenes, and it helps your vocal cut through the mix without sounding harsh at all whatsoever. So as you can see right here, we have a saturation knob, and this is a free tool. You can just download it and get access to it. And sometimes I also still use the saturator from FabFilter. As you can see, we have Saturn 2 right here, and this is from FabFilter to just add, well, you can do more in-depth fine-tuning to your saturation right here. And then next up we have the reverb, and I really don't need to say much about this. Reverb is just like a magic wand that you just throw on your vocal and it just makes it sound good. But you also have to be aware that too much of a reverb can actually do more damage than good to your vocal. Reverb creates a sense of space around the vocal. It gives the listener the feeling that the singer is in a room or a hall, adding depth and dimension while keeping the performance natural and musical. And it's very beautiful how we have a whole lot of reverb plugins. For this vocal, I'm using the Valhalla Vintage Reverb, and as you can see, I've taken it to an aux channel. We have the reverb right here. I think this is also a free plugin. You can just go ahead and download it whenever and wherever. And alongside reverb, we also have the delay. These two work hand in hand. Delay also helps create the illusion of space. Is that delay adds it's like a rhythmic or spatial effect to a vocal. So it's kind of like echoes. Creates echoes to widen the sound or gives it a sense of movement. And then lastly, the last section is actually pitch correction. I don't use pitch correction on every vocal. Okay, as you can see, they are used here. We have Pitcher as the #1 plugin. Aside using plugins like Pitcher, Autotune, and everything to do the pitch correction automatically, it is best of all and mostly advisable to first of all do a manual pitch correction using plugins like Newtone, Melodyne, and the rest of them. It makes a whole lot of difference, and I've covered that in a whole separate video going over how to manually tone your vocals using Newtone in FL Studio. So you can go ahead and check that out. Once you've gone through all these plugins, you can actually mix and fix any vocal into any beat. But aside these 7, there are still other plugins that we use for vocal productions, for vocal mixings, and that mostly comes in during the creative aspect of mixing vocals.